And hello, I'm with Siva Juturi, Chief Customer Officer and EVP of Automation Edge this afternoon. Welcome to the program, Siva.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian, for inviting me to this
Oh, it's a
wonderful
great
podcast.
pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Now, listen, on your website, it says, with Automation Edge, you don't just get bots, you get a catalyst for positive change. I thought that was great. I thought that was great. But in your own words, what does that mean? What does Automation Edge do?
Yeah, so Automation Edge, in fact, we did want to use the word automation in our brand, but then you see the second part is what is catchy here, right? So it is the edge. We are that's where the change and the catalyst for change comes in. It's we focus on change behavior that a customer goes through, which is helps the organization consume our AI and automation workloads through using our platform, and that change will not only help save costs and bottom line, but also improve the top line, the growth of the company.
Yeah, and you guys have been doing this for a while, haven't you? But obviously, I mean, I think in my experience of this area, we started with business process management, and then it went to kind of RPA as the big thing, and then we've moved to hyper automation as a topic. I mean, in your description, what does hyper automation just mean to the average business person? What should it mean?
Yeah. So again, automation has taken its first gear, second gear, third gear, and fourth gear, right? So think of hyper automation as next gen for automation, right?
Mm,
So instead of just doing basic task-based automation, it's doing something that really transforms the business, transforms the operations. It comes with a stack of technology components beyond just basic RPA, which is mimicking human tasks using robotics. But also, if you add the element of artificial intelligence to NLP, NLU, to Gen AI, document extraction, OCR, iPaaS, and then also providing a user interface through either phone-based apps, which is now no more a consumer-based experience. It goes in the corporate world. So if you
mm,
combine all those technologies together, it's
mm.
really transformative. And
Yeah,
that's where hyperautomation has got its new name,
yeah,
which is I
yeah.
call just next gen automation.
And where does Automation Edge sit in this marketplace, Siva? Because there's a lot of companies, obviously, that do provide technology, advice, consulting around automation. What is the edge that your business has got in this?
Yeah. So what we did was we are a privately owned company, right? So we are not having those hundreds of millions of dollars of investment money to do a blast of our hyper automation play in
Mm,
globally. So what we
mm,
did was we said we want to have very niche space in terms of our automation and AI play
mm.
in specific industry verticals, right? So
Yeah,
where we
yeah.
can have laser focus on our engineering as well as our support and also our consulting services from a
Mm, mm,
product company. So we focused on three verticals: banking, insurance, and healthcare. And we hit some specific territories with those verticals to just test our waters.
mm.
So we created what you call solve flows, which are solution flows that come out of the box, which are consumable.
Yeah,
And that's why we coined the term consumable AI by industry verticals. So banking and insurance, pretty much, we focus a lot on the eastern part of the world, whereas in the West, we focus a lot on healthcare, whether it comes to
right.
North America and Latin America market. If you just rebrand those solve flows in healthcare, we call them as care flows. In banking, banking flows; insurance, insurance flows. And
Got it.
that way,
Got it.
the rapid pace with which these are consumable by customers is so fast that they experience pretty much like an instant gratification.
Yeah. So I guess a lot of these technologies, Siva, everybody's got different processes, haven't they? And of course, if you're not careful, just proving that you could do something can take days and weeks and months, can't it? Particularly if you've not got access to the data and all that sort of stuff. So I guess this is a real bonus for ROI and justification, isn't it, for your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you think the traditional ROI metrics, right? If you see any CXO, whether it's a CFO, CIO, or a
Yeah.
CEO, for example, they are used to over the years measuring ROI based on how many man hours they save or or reduction of headcounts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, no more ROI can be measured just with that metric. We have redefined the ROI based on speed with which we are processing these manual workloads. I'll give you healthcare as an example because that's what we're focused on. Let's
Mm,
say the provider could be a hospital system or home care agency. They want to intake patients and they have a
mm,
monthly metric. How many patients are coming on board? Because that's a metric
yeah,
of their growth to provide the service, right? You want to have the ROI not only in terms of how much cost savings you have, but also how many patients you're taking and how
yeah,
automation and AI helps that process, right?
yeah. Got it.
So
Got
one
it.
of our signature care flows is referral intake, where a hospital system or a home care agency gets references from their partners.
Mm,
Um, could be, another hospital system, could be a clinic, could be various portals that they can source. So our AI bots will have the intelligence to go after those sources, qualify them for the provider, whether
mm,
this patient has proper eligibility against insurance, whether we can provide that service and also that
yeah,
location. So we
yeah.
do the location mapping whether I can provide that service. So you see
Okay.
how it's kind of a different ROI metric that we introduce, not only just based on FTE based.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. Now, if you've got organisations that you're talking to that have literally not experienced the business process management, they've missed out on RPA and all that. So, is there an opportunity to kind of leapfrog now with technology on automation?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say yes. If you remember when, I'll give you an analogy here, right? If you remember when the phones came, the wireless phones came,
Mm,
mobile phones came into the market first place, which was the market which was fastest in adoption in terms of territory?
yeah,
It
yeah, yeah,
was the Eastern world, like the markets in India and Southeast
yeah,
Asia and
yeah,
China, because they had not invested in a lot of infrastructure on landlines, which was wired, right? So for them to make that leapfrog from, very basic landline infrastructure to mobile was much faster. So the growth really, was astronomical there or
yeah,
exponential, whereas US market was slow. The same analogy applies here, right? So if you're new to automation, you are ready for already what I call it as consumable AI. That means the end user will have the power and the authority to call the shots in terms of what they're requesting for a service,
mm,
for a query, for example, again in healthcare, let's say an intake coordinator was going to use RPA to start with. They have to
yeah,
automate these manual processes, soil sharing systems, as opposed to I will provide an app to intake coordinator powered by AutomationEdge, which
yeah,
gives the visibility of which patients from which sources
yeah,
with a referral summary of the patient, documents that already it has mined using GenAI on whether it's a wound care patient or not. And it's already pre-qualified. And they will be able to immediately take that decision
yeah,
right on a click of a button. You see how
yeah.
that leapfrog happens as opposed to doing traditional RPA. Just an example. So I would say yes, absolutely. I think the organizations are ready. If you've not started RPA yet, don't start. You can start with AI right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess in some respect, your approach, Siva, means that their project management overheads as the client themselves when they're running this, and obviously the risk associated with a deliverable outcome is massively reduced with this approach.
Absolutely. So because these are already ready consumable AI workloads, right? In terms of the cost and time of professional services, and maintenance, and also periodic upgrades, because these are all SaaS-based cloud workloads.
Yeah, yeah,
It cuts all that slack in terms of both speed to market as well as adoption, right? I
right.
really give a lot of importance on adoption. It's not just we roll out these care flows and sit tight.
Yeah,
It's how these are also enabling an organizational change management, because they have to transition from a
yeah,
human based intake experience, again, going back to referral, to
yeah,
an AI based intake experience. So, in fact, our time goes much more on the adoption side, where we have to provide KPIs and metrics, so that the adoption is much faster than they used to when they do traditional RPA based automation.
Once somebody has got your solution in place and you've solved one of these low-hanging fruit problems that's obviously quite common within an industry, do they get the ability then to harvest the value of that sort of technology toolkit to do other things in the organization? Does it allow you to extend from there, or is it literally, here's the box, solves this problem, move on? What's your approach there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ian. In fact, our customers are asking that again and again. Let's say out of the box, I provide 20 or 25 care flows, right?
Yeah.
Now, every provider has different requirement and different focus where they want to put their money on their initiatives. They scan through we have something called Experience Center by these verticals, which shows demo packs and which are self-driven demos. When they don't see what they're looking for, they come back with the same question that you asked, saying, "Oh, is this something that I just have to live with?" Not only having an ability to have anything new in that, but also customize it. So our answer is always yes, because when we do that, take that open approach, we are making these care flows richer, right? These are superset of care flows, but also addressing the needs across the organization. So we classified, for example, in healthcare, 4 areas: intake, engagement, back office, which is revenue cycle management, and compliance. So we have touched these care flows across all those 4 areas, and then we are making them richer by the day.
Got it. Now, I know also when we spoke a few weeks ago, you were telling me that, as you mentioned today, you're a privately owned business. To what extent has that influenced your ability to kind of move in this direction?
Like I started off with the same thing, right? So because we are privately owned, we have limited money to spend, limited dollars to spend on various initiatives. So our biggest focus on our distribution of our spend is on R&D. So that cost control helps us to not only invest our dollars in the right areas, but also bringing that focus where we'll have niche like banking, insurance, and healthcare, where we have a competitive advantage over our competitors, where we've already gone far ahead in our AI and automation journey, where customers are able to consume our workloads really fast. So that is one aspect of being private, where we take control of our budgets and at the same time keep the focus where we want to. The second is obviously when it comes to our growth, right? We still have to grow as a company. We have picked territories and channel partners who are receptive to our vision, right? So we've been very selective instead of just flooding the market with resellers that are trying to sell just the core platform, not our solve flows. So we have those like-minded channel partners and distribution wars that we are inserting into our overall play. That is helping us, and that's because we were able to make those decisions as a privately owned company.
Got it. And what is the outlook for AutomationEdge in terms of where it goes from here? Because clearly you've been focused on 3 markets. You've focused on particular problems that are common in those markets. Is it a question of finding more problems in the same markets, do you think, or is it going to be kind of looking into different markets and different areas?
Yeah, again, a great question. So we have already consciously focused on these 3 vertical. Like I said, there is so much more to do in this specific areas itself, specific industry verticals itself. So we want to be the leading number 1 AI player in those verticals. So that's our mission statement. And we're going to continue to double down our investments and growth strategy, because we see that the addressable market is so big in these 3 verticals. So we just want to focus on that. So from that perspective, I think we may not have exponential growth, but we will still have linear growth, let's say double-digit year over year. But at the same time, we're capturing that market that we are focused on, and that gives us a niche and competitive advantage. And at the same time, customer appreciates our value that we are providing, right? So if they're able to do that, I think we've done our job. So that's what I see.
One last question, Siva, in terms of the way that companies are adopting your solutions, the automation solutions. I guess the challenge is there are so many automation solutions that they could be looking at the moment. In terms of a 1 minute pitch, why would a healthcare organization want to choose your solution first?
Absolutely. I will give you one example, right? So to address that question, whenever we get on to a first conversation with any potential prospect customer, 95% of the time we're talking about their business problems,
Right.
and not about technology. We don't use AI, we don't use RPA in that first conversation. That is the biggest distinction that we are making when we are talking to our customers. So technology is under the hood. They don't have to worry about, what is the underlying technology. Are we
Yeah.
solving their business problems, and how we're going to solve it with our experience center.
Got it.
So that's
Got it.
just the gist of how we are different than the others.
That's
Yeah.
great. Siva, listen, we're out of time. Thanks very much for your time on the call today and joining the program. I know that you're going to be at the Generation Digital event on the
Yes.
I think it's the 24th of October. So
24th. Yes.
is it the 20th? 24th, yeah. So looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
you there. If anybody watching the program wants to hear more from Siva, you can actually meet him by actually going to that event, and you'll see him face to face if you want to join there. So Siva, for now, thank you very much for joining the program, and I look forward to seeing you at the event.
Thank you so much again, Ian, for the opportunity. It was a fun conversation. I just
Great
loved
stuff.
it. Thank you for your
Thanks
time.
for your time.
That's
Cheers
right.
for now.